What's up, good people? Welcome to the C.A.P podcast. I'm your host, JD. So let's cultivate.
Erica, Jizzle, let's accumulate.
Chamel Jackson, let's prosper.
Okay, the buzz, ladies. What's the buzz? The biggest buzz going on in Memphis is with the mega superstar sports star Ja Morant. Mm-hmm. He was caught on IG after a game against Denver in the strip club holding a gun next to his head. Now, we know he's a 23-year-old, but at the same time, he's got to make some better decisions than that. What do you think about it?
Yeah, like you said, he's 23, and we all can relate to being 23 and things we done that was silly, made some mistakes. So I think at that age, you need a mentor. He probably has one, but I'm not sure. But he does definitely need a mentor, especially in that industry, whether it be someone who's a retired basketball player or someone who's older and still playing basketball. He just needs some guidance. I don't think that it should totally ruin his career, but I just think he needs to be aware that when you are a public figure, you gotta have a certain type of behavior because it'll get you in trouble, and you don't want to mess up your career. If you intend to keep doing that, the career, you want to make sure that you're doing things that are going to keep you doing what you love doing. I'm pretty sure that's the basketball.
I will totally agree with that. And just to add to what Chamel said, I look at, because of course, it's all of it is like a business. And in business, you're just starting out, you're young. It's going to be a lot of things that you don't know.
Right.
And that you have to learn. Mm-hmm. I myself have had plenty of mentors. And guess what? Even with mentors, I mess up. Mm-hmm. We human. We going to do some things. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think what has gotten me is so much talk that you hear is like people forget that you were 23 once. Just like Jerry said, we were all 23 once. We all did some crazy things. We were all in, you be in the clubs, you're here and there, you're doing crazy things. So instead of talking about him and what he's doing, I'm like, do just like Chamel said, mentor him, tell him why it's wrong, pull him to the side when you need to, because sometimes we've had to get some hard lessons in life. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So that's really what I look at. Just instead of talking about him, help. I saw there was this young man, this older man, I can't remember his name, but he did a couple of videos where he's like, pleading with y'all, like, we got to get this together or whatever. And I love that he did that. And I think it would be great if you could see more people doing that. Mm-hmm. And maybe he will start to get it and he did make a public apology. I think that's great. Don't know how much of it whether he means it, but it seems sincere. I would hope it's sincere. So I'm just hoping that instead of talking about him, we get more into helping him.
Yeah, then he's 23 with a lot of money.
Right.
So he definitely is going to need some mentoring to even just handle that, what comes with being an athlete with a lot of money.
Right.
So just to piggyback on that, I think that being a young black man with that type of money and influence is still having that mentality of my boys got to come with me. Well, sometimes your friends are not your friends if they're going to put you in a situation where it may cost you. I mean, he has Nike endorsements besides being the face of the Grizzlies, but more importantly, he has a little daughter, and he's being able to take care of his family, unlike many folks can do. A lot of young boys would love to be in his position.
Right.
Even myself growing up playing football, and all of us aspire to be NFL, NBA, and that doesn't happen for many. So it's going to come down to him making that decision to, not put himself in positions that would compromise his finances or his persona or his family in general.
Yeah, it's a lot at stake. Yep, yeah, that's true. Even not just a career, like you said, his family. That's more important. But yeah. All right, so Angela Bassett. has been around for a very long time. An actress has been around for a long time. She has been named one of the Time Women of the Year. It's 12 women on the list, and she is one of them. And she has also gotten a Oscar nomination for Wakanda Forever. And so I think I am a fan of Angela Bassett. I like her work. I don't know if I've seen No, I have not seen everything she's done, but I like a lot of work that she's done. What's Love Got to Do with is one of her popular films. Like, so I'm just really proud of her. I think now she's beginning to see the fruit of her labor. Whether or not it should have been sooner. Some people, probably thought it should have been sooner. What do y'all think about her recent awards or accomplishments?
Okay, I can't think of how old Angela Bassett is, but I have been following her for years, and I loved her. I mean, absolutely loved her and What's Love Got to Do with it. I think this is long overdue.
Yeah.
It is well long overdue.
Yeah.
Because she is absolutely, I have said in the past, she is like my favorite actress. Now, there's been some more people that have come along, like Viola Davis. I love her. But Angela is one of my favorite actresses. So to see her getting what she deserves is a breath of fresh air. So I am very excited. I think she deserves it. I have loved everything I have seen her in. I'm just excited to see her getting what she deserves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very fond of Angela Bassett. She's an amazing actress. She is fine as all get out to be 61 years old. But she's done What's Love Got to Do with it. She was in Waiting to Exhale.
Yes, let's not forget. Waiting to Exhale.
She Stella got a groove back. She was in a lot of different movies, and then she's on TV, which the 911 series, which I haven't fully gotten into, hadn't had a chance to really watch it, but I will because she's the main actress on there. But kept herself in shape. To my knowledge, there's been no cosmetic surgery or anything like that. And, she's just a phenomenal actress. And, of course, in Wakanda, playing the mother, the queen, or whatnot. So this is long overdue. It's good that she's getting her flowers now.
Right.
And hopefully many more actresses, that deserve that will do the same, will get the same accolade.
Amen to that.
Yes. Go, Angela.
So listen, before we get started with our main thing for today, be sure those of you who are watching to go to our YouTube channel, like it, subscribe to it, share it, comment. We want to hear from you. So listen, you guys, we are very, very excited today. Not only is it Women's Month, we got the women here, we dominate. Not only, it's Women's Month, and so what we wanted to do, we wanted to come to you with a change of pace this time. We've had 2 wonderful episodes, and today we wanted to bring along a special guest, and of course wanted it to be a woman. I want you guys to really pay attention to this. This is going to be wonderful. We have my friend, my sister, my fellow filmmaker, director, author, Tymika Chambliss Williams. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you all for having me. It's an honor to be a part of your space, for you all sharing your platform with me and just allowing me to come on here and just hang out with you guys and see what y'all doing and everything. So I'm loving it. I'm already loving it.
She loving the buzz.
Yeah, she loving the buzz.
See her. She was over here. She's like, ooh.
Yeah. I wanted to hop in on some of them conversations. I'm like, this is really, really good. But great job. I love what you guys are doing. I'm just so honored to be here. Thank you.
Great. So listen, before we get started with any questions for you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a wife. I'm a mom. I have 3 beautiful children. I am a filmmaker. Playwright. I'm a writer. Let's just put it that way. Just keep it really simple. I'm a writer. I love writing. I love creative writing. And I love being able to have the space to be able to be creative. And so I've done films, stage plays, books, all of those wonderful things. And so that's what I do. Yeah.
Awesome.
It's interesting that, you should say that you're a wife. Yes, girl. Wife, mom, filmmaker, doing theater plays, author. It's like so many women juggle all three of these. So how are you able to deal with all of that? The mom, the wife, the business woman.
My husband. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Like, he is the business side of everything. I'm like, don't call me about no money. Don't call me about no bills. Don't call me about nothing. Contracts, nothing. I honestly would not be able to do what I do, and I honestly wouldn't be where I am without him. You've met Tracy. Tracy is very quiet. He's very he's an introvert. But he definitely, he leads our family, and I told him many times, okay, if it ever came down to it where I had to choose between what I love, writing versus my family, I would never jeopardize my family, for writing. But thankfully I haven't been able to, because he has been such a big support system for me. And we went to Jackson the film last week. He was like, all right, I got the kids, you go, and we all went up there and they stayed in the hotel, and so I think that being able to have a partner that really sees what I do, sees the potential in me, and believes in it, and so we've just been able to really find a great balance in our marriage with our family, so that I support him in his businesses, he support me in mine, and we're able to just really do it. I'll say successfully, but I'll say we're learning, you know what I'm saying? We're finding our pacing, and we're finding our footing in it. But thankfully, thank God, so far it's been really good. Yeah. He still like me.
Well, that's good. That's good to hear that you giving him props. I like to hear that. Me being the only guy on this podcast that you gave. So Tracy, I don't know you, man, but she gave you props, and it should be that way.
Right. That's good.
So let me ask you this: what film allowed you to win the Best Director award at the January 2022 Cannes Film Festival?
So Timothy. So my short film, Timothy, which is, it's like a 12-minute, 38-second film. And it's about, it challenges the biases when it comes down to church versus the LGBTQ plus community. Okay. And it's a very deep, short film. It was one of the things where Tay, the main character in the movie, who I love dearly, it was literally one day I was cooking. I was in the kitchen cooking, and this thought just kind of came to me, and I was like, So that night I wrote the whole thing out. I sent it over to Tay, and I was like, I got an idea. He was like, oh Lord, girl, what you talking about? And I sent it over to him. But it has come across very well. I think a lot of times as filmmakers, many times we're not able to find the balance in controversial topics without making it feel like you're just tossing it at people. It's finding a beautiful, seamless balance where it's tasteful, and people are able to digest it, and I think that's why Timothy came across so well and has done so well in film festivals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So we're all writers, and so we can have so many ideas, so many projects we got our hands into. So I just wanted to see, what are some of the daily routines that you have while you are creating a new project, which can be stressful. Let's just be honest. It can be stressful, overwhelming. So what are some things you do on a daily basis to just kind of balance yourself?
I write. There's not a day that goes by that I don't write. Even if it's a sentence, if it's a paragraph, if it's a quote, every single day I write. And I've been able to, at first, when I first really started taking my writing serious, I was like, it was spur of the moments. It was like I was writing, my writing was emotional driven. So it's like, I'm mad, I'm ticked off, I'm gonna write. I'm happy, I'm gonna write. And so I had to figure out how, because what I found myself was I would write, I would have these bursts of writing moments, and then 3 months later I hadn't written anything. And I'm like, and it felt like I had to reconfigure my creativity, you know, and so, right. And so, you know, I had to train myself to write every day. And so that's one of the main things that I do. And I teach my students, you know, I'm like, it doesn't matter what you write something. Even if you're writing somebody else's words, allow your mind and your body to get accustomed to that being a daily routine. And then the other thing I do, and this is going to sound crazy when I say it, I'm not crazy. Let me but I talk to my characters. Like, I have full conversations with my characters. What I've learned in my process of writing is that it's one thing to write. It's one thing to have characters. It's another thing to develop a relationship with your characters, the people that you are writing about. And one of the other things is that I learned is that you're telling their story. Right. And so, you know, like, oh, I got an idea. That's good. You have an idea. But mind you, you're telling the story of the characters in the story. And so if you haven't been able to develop a relationship or a connection with those characters, you can't fully provide the audience with what you're supposed to give. One time, so my kids came up with a idea. So we're writing like a children's book. It's a superhero children's book called Legends of Skyward Bay. And I had a writer's block. And I was like, Lord, I'm just trying to finish this book and I cannot get through it. And so what I did was, and my nightstand I got about 12 notebooks on my nightstand. And so what I did the night before, I was like, okay, the main character, his name is Hunter. He's like 14 years old, right? And so I'm like, okay, Hunter. And I'm literally having a conversation with somebody I don't even know, right? Just a figment of my imagination. I'm like, okay, Hunter, I'm having writer's block. I need to figure out how we're going to get you to South Africa, because it's like a bridge between America and South Africa, right? I'm like, okay, I need to know how we get there. That night, I literally had the dream of exactly what the storyline is. Wow. And I was able to bridge that. And so a lot of times, you know, when we have writer's block is simply, it's the absence of creativity. And so when you learn to have a connection with your characters and really build it, you know, and I tell my students all the time, this is not your story. You have the idea, but your story are in the characters. Talk to your characters so that they can tell you what the story is about. Because that character may not be, if that particular character may not even live in America. That particular character may live in the UK. But if you develop the connection and able to convey properly what that character wants the world to see, whoever is in the UK, they're going to see it. And so it's understanding that you're not telling your story, but you're telling the story of the character, and you have to develop a connection with them.
That's good. Write every day.
Yes,
that's good. I remember one time I challenged myself to journal, which, you know, it's writing 30 days straight. I did it, but I think now you've added something to my list for me to do. Yep.
And no, it doesn't sound crazy. Whatever's going to work for you. Get that creativity out. You got to do whatever is going to work for you. Yeah. Now, just in that you're talking about writing, as Chamel said, we're all writers. Chamel and Jerry have both had 2 books out there.
Yes.
I'm working on mine.
Yes.
Yeah. And I do know that you are an author. So I would love to hear about how that process worked in getting that book out, and how did you come about in writing that?
So my first book that I wrote, I actually wrote it while I was recovering from mastectomy surgery. So in 2019, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And COVID had just hit. You know, COVID hit 2020. I was going through, you know, COVID, isolation, quarantining, breast cancer. And I didn't really know. So I have my kids at the time, my baby was 2. I didn't know how to tell my children I had breast cancer. You know, I was like, Mommy got some issues and I'll be back, you know. And while I was recovering from mastectomy surgery, you know, I had this this quote that came to me, and it was pink hope. And I was like, I don't know what this is. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is pink hope? And so I told Tracy, I was literally, I was 3 tubes. I had 3 tubes coming out of my body. I had to sleep in our lazy boy, you know, and I told him, I said, a quote, this came to me. I don't know what it is. So I was like, I'm just going to pray about it. Right. 6, 7, literally a week to the day. I was asleep, And I had this vision. It was like I was sleeping, but I wasn't. It was a vision. I just saw like this really flash of like a storyline just flashing before my eyes. And I was trying to catch up with it, right? And so after I finally got up, I told Tracy to pass me my laptop. And I started typing. And it was a children's book called Pink Hope and the Hope Leaders. That was my first book that I wrote. And it was about Pink Hope is a Black female superhero, breast cancer survivor, who teaches children how to be other people's hope leaders, right?
Oh, wow.
And hope stands for helping other people every day. And so that was my first, introduction to becoming a published author. And then after that, last year, I had a woman that reached out to me. She was like, how do you do what you do? Like, you do all of this stuff, and you got kids and all that kind of stuff. And so I sat down, because I never really knew how to answer that question. And so I sat down and I was just praying, and this phrase came to me: passion, purpose, and parenting. And I ended up writing a book. It's just like a 50-page, little short, little self-help guide for parents. Because a lot of times as parents, we feel like our children become our purpose. And we don't understand that we had a purpose before we birthed kids. Right. And so the purpose of the goal of that book is just to encourage parents to utilize their children, not just as your children, but as your purpose partners. So your children are given to you for you to guide them, but they have to see you operating in your purpose so that they can find theirs.
That's good.
So you incorporate them, and my children are my purpose partners, and so you can go on Amazon and purchase that book today.
Great commercial.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So,
like
yeah.
hope. Is it helping others?
Helping other people every day.
Helping other people.
like
I like that.
that.
Me too.
And we love
acronyms.
acronyms.
Yes, I know, Cap. So yeah, I should have brought some books. I don't know why I didn't, but and I have other, like I said, my children and I, we're working on Legends of Skyward Bay, which it's a book series, and it's a Black superhero kid, and we involve in nanobot technology and all the scientific stuff in it and everything. But to me, I believe that as creatives, there are audiences and avenues for everything. And I think a lot of times as creatives, we box ourselves into one thing. Oh, I'm a filmmaker, I'm a playwright, I'm an author. And so what we don't understand is that what you write in a book has one audience. What you create on film has another audience. What you create on stage is another audience. And so being able to tap into all of those audiences is one of the biggest keys to building your brand, increasing your followers, increasing your engagement. And so I think that, I tell people all the time, don't just box yourself into one thing. Tap into all of it. Writing is across the board. It's almost like music. It's the universal language. So whether you're writing a podcast, a short film, a short story, whatever, utilize your gifts across the board so that you can expand your audience and your engagement.
That's true. Good.
I love it.
Me too.
Well, I got a question for you, Tymika. What was the premise of your series, Toxic, and what inspired you to create it?
Ooh.
Yeah.
You hit some, Jerry.
Okay, so Toxic. I wrote the first episode of Toxic in 2014. True story, real story. So I'm originally from New Orleans, right? And so I'm accustomed to like Boudreaux's, LeBlancs. Those are like some of the Creole last names out there, right? And so I wrote a character. His name was James Boudreaux, and I wrote this in early 2014. And honey, I was at work. I ain't telling nobody to do your own work on your job, but I was doing it. So I just had an idea. I was like, I just wanted to write a story about, a black guy who has a best friend, and he makes it out the hood. Okay. And so the whole storyline was, he made it out the drug gang, moved to Memphis with his grandfather, went to college, graduated from college. Now he's the first black man to build a brokerage firm in Memphis. He's worth like $50 million, all that kind of stuff. I was like, this is great. And then Power came out in the fall. And I was like, how we got the same storyline? Like literally like James and he coming out the drug game.
I'm
and all
familiar
that.
with Power because I'm a
And I
fan.
was like, oh my God. So now I had to go and kind of tweak a few things, you know, for the sake of, you know, I ain't trying to get sued.
Yeah.
And so now, you know, we've kind of tweaked it a little bit. But the whole premise of Toxic is, you know, everybody has some type of toxic trait. That's really what it's about. And it's how you're able to overcome those traits, how you're able to still progress in life by overcoming those traits. And it's literally everybody in the story is lying, they stealing, they doing something, you know, but ultimately the whole point of it is being able to overcome whatever demons that we face, you know, because I mean, if we're being honest, every one of us is struggling with something. It doesn't matter how minute it is, doesn't matter how large it is. Everybody is dealing with something. And so for me, I wanted to create a relatable story where people can see themselves in the characters, you know. So yeah, so that's kind of sort of, I hope I answered your question.
Oh, you did. Okay.
All right. So out of your projects, which one has been your favorite and why?
Oh goodness,
That's a hard one.
that is a hard one. It's probably one I haven't even put out yet. And I think this is definitely my favorite one. It's called Last Night I Dreamt of You in Color.
Okay.
And a true story. Let me tell you, I have like some of the weirdest things that happened to me. I was asleep. And a lot of things I get in my sleep. Like I'm a dreamer, and I've been a dreamer like my whole life. And so I was asleep. I woke up. I had this dream about this lady and this man in a church, and he's in a line, and she's reaching for him and can't hear him. I woke up, and I started writing it. And my 5-year-old at the time, of course, you know, mommy. I was like, I'm going to lock myself in the closet. And I did. I went and locked myself in the closet, and I sat there for about an hour and just wrote what I saw in my dream. The moment I read it, I cried, like sobbing, like heartbroken sobbing for like 30 minutes. My husband comes in the closet like, girl, what you doing sitting on the floor? And I'm crying. I'm like, I'm okay. You know, I'm like, I'll be all right. But what is wrong with you? So I read it to him. He was like, oh. Literally 3 days later, his business partner called and was like, man, you know, the lady who I fell in love with, he was like, you know, she reached out to me and, you know, she was telling me some things. True story. Tracy was like, Tymika, read what you wrote. Do you not know? Real talk. What I wrote is what she was telling him. I told Tracy, I said, so my moment of heartbreak wasn't me. It was her. And that's what I was saying, as writers, you have to be so in tune with your craft that your creativity feels safe to really reveal itself to you emotionally, because as writers, if you don't feel it, you can't convey it. And so because of that whole thing, I came up with the Last Night I Dreamt of You in Color. And so it's a movie about a lost love. And there's this woman that she is struggling with reality, because the only time she's able to experience and be with her love is in her dreams. And so she has to make a decision if she wants to live in reality or if she wants to live in her dreams. And so, yeah, I think that's probably my favorite one.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. Thank you for that. Okay.
That is amazing.
It is.
And then just really thinking about, you know, us all being writers and putting things out there that's going to really resonate with the people, because you need to have the audience.
Yeah.
You need to have the people who are going to buy this book, or who's going to come see this film or come see this play. And I know I have experienced so many times, whether it's just from writing a skit. I'm pretty sure you guys, even with your books or whatever, somebody that it touches, or somebody that is like, you know what, I went through that exact same thing. So to be able to write something and then you're able to reach some people, That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
I
is.
think that, God doesn't give us ideas just because he has nothing better to do.
Right.
I'm a part of a sorority, and one of our mottos is being God's hands and feet on the earth. And as writers, a lot of times we are God's mouthpiece, or we are God's words on paper.
Right.
And so it's important that, and I honestly, I didn't really start experiencing these things until I got serious about writing. It really wasn't, because I think what it is that as writers, when you're in and out and you're in and out and you're in and out, again, your creativity doesn't have a safe space.
Right.
And then a lot of times God has to know, can I trust you with what I want to give you? Because if you're in and out and you're not really serious about the gifts that God gives us, he won't give us the magnitude of what he wants to give us. We won't experience it until we become, the Bible tells us, be faithful. When you're faithful over a few things, God will make you rulers over many, right? And so when we show God that, okay, God, I'm going to be faithful over what you gave me, right? You gave me this gift, you gave me this talent, and I'm going to be faithful over it. It was many times I wanted to quit. It was many times I went through so much. Oh God, I went through so much with the stage plays, with the movies, and all kind of stuff. Just recently in January, we were dealing with something. I told Trace, I said, you know what? I quit. I said, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And that night I was praying, and God was like, seriously? Like, who are you to say you're going to quit? Like, who are you to tell me that you're going to quit? Because what happened was that we were trying to figure out something didn't go right. And God had to remind me, it's not for you to know how you're going to get there. It's just for you to do it. You do it, and I'm going to take you there. But the moment we get so frustrated in our feelings that we want to quit, and like, I'm tired of people. Then God, again, it's like, okay, can I really trust you? And so I'm learning, even in my journey as a writer, is that I have to understand and remember that this gift, I didn't give myself this. This gift came specifically from my Creator. And I have a duty, because my writing is not for me. Every idea God gives me, everything I write is for somebody else. And the moment I choose to tell God I'm not going to do it, what was meant for someone, they won't get it. And what I'm supposed to write, it may be the thing that is the catalyst to push them into their destiny. And so if I don't do what God gave me to do, then guess what? That person won't receive what they're supposed to receive. And so that's why it's so important that, we just really take everything. That I don't care if God gave you a gift to clean, if God gave you a gift to write, if he gave you a gift to sing, whatever it is, your gift is not for you. It's going to bring you to prosperity.
Right.
Yes.
It's going to bring you to cultivating others. It's going to bring you to accumulate. Those gifts are not for us. Those gifts are for others, so that we can walk in wealth. We can obtain wealth. We can obtain prosperity. But the moment we say, well, you know what? I don't feel like doing it today. Yeah. I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll do it the next day. We are prolonging our prosperity.
Yes.
Right.
We are prolonging our accumulation. We are prolonging being able to cultivate other people. And so that's why it is so important. When God gives you something to do, you go for it. And you might have to crawl, you might have to cry, you might have to scream. It don't matter. Just get there. And that's my thing. Now I'm like, okay, God, I have my vision board. And it was so funny. I was going through my vision board, and I started laughing because I realized something on my vision board was just done. I told Trace, I said, look. He said, well, I said, look at number 12. And he looked at it, he said, yep, check that one off. Yeah. And so when we put ourselves in the position to allow God to know that, God, you can trust me with the gifts and the talents that you have given to me, then everything else will follow. And so as writers, just do your thing, honey, because God gonna do his.
Just right. Amen.
And it's funny that you said all of that.
Yeah.
Which, because that's what you said was magnificent, and it's definitely true. And it leads to what I wanted to ask you, since our podcast is called C.A.P, Cultivate, Accumulate, Prosper. So I wanted to ask you, what was the moment, the very moment in your life that you cultivated your gift to write and produce movies, plays, and books?
I think it was I think it's been a journey. I don't think it was one specific thing that happened. It was definitely a journey. I mean, I've been writing since as long as I can remember. And then I got into stage plays when I moved to Memphis, and I did that. And, I think what it was that I realized that I was building everybody else's gifts and I wasn't building mine. So I was going to the auditions. I was going to stage plays. I was in this stage play, in that stage play, trying to get in this movie, auditioning for this. And I realized I'm putting so much effort into somebody else's that I have failed to even realize what God has given me. And so what happened was I ended up getting pregnant with my last baby. And Tracy was like, so you still going to do stage plays? I said, no, you know what? I think I'm going to take a year off. I'm just going to, go through my pregnancy, have the baby and everything. And it was during my pregnancy that I realized that, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And so I started back writing. I started back creating. And then when my daughter was 9 months old, I did my first stage play, When Love Lies, and that was a child. I don't even want to talk about that. That was a journey in itself. We'll save that for another podcast. But it was in that moment where I realized, nothing is wrong with building somebody else's vision. Let me say that. I think that God places us in spaces to see if we can be faithful to somebody else's, right? Will you show up on time? Sorry, I was late today. Will you show up on time? Will you give your all? Will you allow your emotions to get the best of you? When we show God that I can help somebody else build their stuff, and I can be faithful at it, and I can do it with everything. I can do it with a smile. I can do it with a great attitude. Then God knows that He can trust us with our own stuff. So it was during my pregnancy when I realized that, okay, now it's time for me to start cultivating my own stuff.
That's good. Okay. Wow.
So as a business owner, what have you accumulated over the years?
A husband. No, I think lessons. I've accumulated a ton of lessons. I've accumulated knowledge, but I think I've maturity. A lot of times we go into businesses and we think, my goal is to make $20,000 a month or $30,000 a month. And when it doesn't happen, many times, maybe that's not the right business, or maybe I should be doing something else. And for me, I was at that point. I was like, you know what? This ain't really doing what I think it's supposed to be doing. I'm looking at everybody else like, she making it, he making it, why, But God had to remind me that, a business, being an entrepreneur, it's a lifetime journey. And again, it goes back to allowing God to see that He can trust us, even when things aren't necessarily going the right way. We may not be making the amount of money we want. We may not have the clients that we want. If God gave you the idea, He didn't give it to you for you to do it for 5 months and quit.
Right.
He gave it to you because there's something on the other side of getting beyond the not really making a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? It's something. So I think for me, and our businesses are doing well now. But for the most part, it was the lessons that I had to learn and to understand and to mature. Because honey, that was the other thing. I was ready to pop off on everybody. And God was like, okay, your mouth ain't going to let you become a millionaire. So you got to learn how to keep your mouth shut. You have to learn how to talk right to people. You have to learn how to treat people the right way, and because when you become wealthy, who you are is magnified 100 times.
Right.
And so if you can't treat people right with $5 in your purse or $5 on your Cash App, why is God going to sit around here and give you $5 million so you can treat people worse? And so I had to learn. So that's why I said what I had to accumulate was maturity and a whole lot of lessons.
That's good. All right, so now we get to prosperity.
Yes, come on,
and being prosperous and just not just financially, but also other areas. So tell me something, like one main thing that has helped you to become prosperous, whether it be financially, spiritually, emotionally, mentally.
All of it. I think that what I chose to do with the knowledge that God gave me was to impart it into other people. When I first started out, and I had one of my really good friends, her and I were talking yesterday, and she was like, so, how did you get here? And I told her, I said, when I first started, and I'm sure Erica probably can vouch for this as well. When I first made the decision to write, become a playwright, I reached out to, I don't know if I should say this out loud, but I reached out to the majority of playwrights in Memphis. Nobody helped me. Nobody. Not one person helped me. And I promised God, I said, Lord, if you ever help me to gain the knowledge to help others, I will never turn anyone away. And so last year I started a school called From Page to, it's a writing school called From Page to Stage. And yes, I do own the name and the trademark. Don't try me. Because somebody tried it. But I bought the trademark, purchased the name and everything, called From Page to Stage. And what I did was, I was like, you know what? I want to teach people that want to write. I want to teach them, if you want to write a book, you want to write a stage play, you want to write a movie, a short film. And so right now, I actually just signed a lady up this week. And if I was like, okay, God, I don't think people are going to be able to pay for this. Girl, the people pay for
They're paying for it. Okay.
But then I had other people that came to me. It was like, Tymika, I don't have the money. And I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter. Let's roll. So I have students that paid. I have students that I'm teaching completely for free. And we have class every week. I coach them and mentor them for a whole year. I walk them through their production process. I teach them how to direct. I teach them how to produce. I teach them how to budget, everything for free. Because I know what it was like to be on the other side, and you want to do something, but nobody wants to help you. And that was the promise that I made to God, and I said, God, I don't care if somebody come to me and they don't have it, if they broke, if they need whatever I got and I can help them get it, I'm going to do it, and so that's what I've been able to.
And
that's
for
good.
That you gain so much.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, when I tell you, honey, God has just truly blessed. Never in a million years would I have even imagined being able to go through and experience what I'm experiencing, and I tell God all the time, God, listen, I'm here for the long haul, okay? Now, I know, look, I'm trying to be your favorite daughter, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, God, I'm here, and whatever, I remember, girl, I was pregnant with my baby, and I'm sorry, y'all. I was pregnant with Lila, and I'm going to try my best not to cry. And I was homeless. We were living with my mom. I had no money. I had a job, girl, making barely anything. And one of my coworkers, her name is LaToya Grant, and she would pick me up, buy me breakfast every morning, buy me lunch every day, drop me off home. And I remember sitting in her car, and I was looking out the passenger window, and I was passing by this little donut shop at the corner of Riley LaGrange and Sycamore View. And I told God, I said, God, if you ever put me in a position where I'm able to bless others, I'm going to do it. And I meant it. I meant every word of what I said. And I promised God that. And now, I'm in a position, I ain't a millionaire. I'm almost there, I'm just waiting on God to drop it in the bank account. But, every opportunity I get to be a blessing to someone else, I try my best to do what I can with wisdom. But I try my best to do it because I know what it's like not to. I know what it's like not to have. I know what it's like, not to have someone that is willing to teach you,
Right.
And so, yeah.
That reminds me of a quote. It may be Maya Angelou, but it talks about how when you learn something, teach others. And so that's good. That's really good. All right, so we're going to switch it up a little bit of fun on this. In the spirit of Women's History Month, we're going to have a little game called Pick One. And so let's get into music. And so I want you guys to pick one, Mariah Carey or Whitney Houston.
I'll go first.
Okay.
If anybody knows me, you already know my answer. Now, don't get me wrong, Mariah Carey is great and all. I am a huge Whitney Houston fan.
Yes.
Don't play with
Don't
it.
play with
Whitney
it.
Houston all the way. Totally.
And I'm with Erica. Whitney Houston all the way.
Yeah.
All the way home.
Girl, I will start singing a song and I
Go
can't
on, sing.
No.
Go on, sing. What's
No.
your favorite Whitney song?
All of them? Girl. Don't play the whole Bodyguard soundtrack.
Oh,
Girl,
yes.
that was
Wait
it
till
right there.
tell.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yeah.
That was
Whole
Oh.
Bodyguard soundtrack, especially I Will Always Love
Yes.
You, Run to You.
Yes.
Don't play with it. Yeah. Don't get me started.
Yeah. I'm with y'all. Whitney.
with Whitney?
Listen, I love Whitney pre-crack, post-crack, all of it. I love Whitney. So,
Now she did have some hits. What's the $1 million beat?
yes,
What is? I like
ma'am,
that.
honey.
Yeah.
Everything shoot.
Oh yeah.
Girl, that was my. Let me tell you.
And Babyface, they did that thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, shoot.
Promise.
They
Waiting to
did.
Exhale and Bodyguard to today, I think have the best soundtrack outside of The Best Man. But those two, best soundtrack.
The
Yeah.
only song that wasn't on those that I just absolutely loved because it spoke so much to me, and it was post crack. I didn't know my own strength.
Oh, yes,
Oh.
honey. Yeah.
I didn't know my own strength.
And I didn't.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
Let
That's
me hear from the
good.
man. From the man.
Well, I mean, I had to follow you three ladies. Whitney, post and pre-crack, was definitely man. That's not another Whitney. Mariah's cool. Don't get me wrong, but Whitney was just
Special.
impeccable.
Special.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Listen.
We all sweet.
So we still with the women. And we're going to go with movies. So you know, they have like these little chick flicks or whatever. And it's interesting because Jada Pinkett, wait a minute. Queen Latifah too, I believe, yeah. So we got Girls Trip or Set It Off.
Oh, set it off. I'm gonna set it off.
Me too.
And
Me
that's
too.
the sound. That soundtrack was
It was
good.
fine too. Yes, it was too. Yes, it was.
I'm going with set it off.
Set It Off is for me too. That's my movie to this day.
Really?
I could go and look at it again and it'll be like the first time I saw it.
It was early. What was her name? Kim. Is her name Kim? She played in a lot of Tyler Perry
Kimberly
films.
Elise.
Kimberly
Elise,
Yeah.
yes. That was her.
First movie.
Ooh, okay, so I'm gonna deviate from that. Only because I don't like movies that people die at the end. You know, like I
Oh,
there.
okay,
that with
yeah.
Cleo. I mean, she went out like a soldier.
She did.
But I don't personally prefer like movies where people die at the end. Like it just does
Yeah,
something
I
to me.
know.
So
I
I'm gonna
understand that. I
Yeah,
understand.
I'm gonna go with Girls Trip only because I think it was a stellar cast. It was hilarious, and I think that it showed Black women in a different light. You do a lot of movies with Black women, but we don't really see ourselves having fun
Oh,
and
no.
laughing.
Yeah, not catty.
Yeah. So I think it showed Black women in a different light, and so that's why I would choose Girls Trip.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll let you have it.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta go with Set It Off. I mean, I don't. As a gangster flick, it had 4 females that did their thing, and you know, so it's a cult classic back in the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, that's a part of our classic Bible. Really, when it comes down to Black film, that is definitely one of our classic Bibles.
And Set It Off was like so different because it's like you got 4 women. You didn't have the men this time.
Yeah.
They had never robbed a bank before.
And they did it well.
And they did it. That don't mean y'all supposed to try
Don't
that.
do
You
it.
know,
No, don't try that. Ain't saying that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
they did
But
it.
the acting was just good.
And
It was.
then,
Jada, Blair, just
then to
all
have,
of
I was
it.
just going to say that, then to have a
Fine.
specimen of a man on there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like Blair, yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I ain't gonna say that out loud. But
I'm coming
Stick
back
with the
now.
women.
no, I agree with y'all. I agree. I'm still gonna go with Girls Trip though.
Okay, well, my pick one. Now that y'all you're done with drooling over Blair or whatnot, my pick one It's what female what female has was most influential political wise that you would choose. Would it be former First Lady Michelle Obama or Vice President Kamala Harris? Now, I'm going to personally say, because I was born in the Chi, and it was never the prettiest floaters we ever had, I got to go with Michelle Obama.
Yes.
Personally.
Yeah, I'm going with her too. And I watched her documentary on Netflix to see even though we know she's human, but, just to see it, her be human makes it very special. Because she talks about how, even though they had that status, she still treated the kids like, no, y'all still gonna make your own bed. You know what I'm saying? You're not finna, because when we leave the White House, you gotta make your own bed. So I like that she just chill. Like, she's a normal human being. Yeah. Who just so happens to be a former First Lady. So I'm going with Michelle Obama.
I agree. Let me tell you, I agree with you. I'm not, and I don't know if I should say this out loud, I'm really not a big fan of Kamala Harris. I love the fact that we have our first Black female vice president. But I haven't really been able to. I think for me as a Black woman, I haven't been able to connect with her. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the challenges with her being in the role of a vice president. Yes, we glad you're there, but I don't think many of us have really been able to connect with her like we have with Michelle Obama, First Lady Michelle Obama. She's our forever First Lady. Because like you said, we saw her as a sister. We saw her as an aunt, as a cousin. She was a typical Black mama. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so she humanized the role of First Lady.
She did.
I don't think that with Vice President Kamala Harris, I don't think that the connection with her in the Black community, it hasn't gotten there.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm of course going to say Michelle Obama as well. There isn't even much more to be said about her because you guys have hit it on the nail. Yeah. Michelle Obama was that First Lady.
She's that. Yep.
She was that First Lady. And a breath of fresh air. Yes. You know what I'm saying? There has never been anything like it. And even post being First Lady, it's just the whole, character, her everything that she gives off. Not to mention the fact of very wonderful help to Barack. Mm-hmm. To her husband. It wasn't just, okay, he's the president or whatever. She treated him like the president, but she treated him like a man too.
Exactly. Yeah.
And she was submissive.
Yep.
And she was helpful. Mm-hmm. Everything you're supposed to be as a wife.
Yeah. She was that.
She was that woman.
Yeah.
Right. She was that girl.
So listen, just to our viewers, remember, as you're watching, I hope you're enjoying our guest. We have certainly been enjoying her.
Yeah.
Make sure you comment on YouTube, like us, follow us, and be sure to subscribe.
Yes, tell us your pick ones. Tell us your all that. And join in on our conversation. And now we've come to the part where we take in questions from people, and we with different life situations to help them with. And you can send questions to the C.A.P podcast 3@gmail.com. And so today's question is from Michelle in Little Rock, Arkansas. She says, a high school friend in need has been staying with me over 90 days. She had only planned to be there for 30 days to get back on her feet. Some bad habits have become unbearable. What should I do? What should I do?
Now listen, something tells me that this high school friend probably has kids too. Mm-hmm. And you can only imagine, not to imagine, could possibly not be cleaning up. If she's asking, what shall I do? What should I do? I'm pretty sure she's going through some stuff. That's 60 days over. That's 2 months over. If at all possible, I would say try to salvage the friendship. Think about what you're going to say, and try, as upset as you might be, try saying it in love.
Yeah.
Saying it to where they can receive it, because if you're friends, I'm going to say like this, friends that I have, I want you to tell me if I'm wrong. If you're not going to tell me, you're not a real friend.
Right.
So hopefully they're able to receive it, and you can still move forward, even if you're not living together, but still be able to move forward and still keep the friendship intact. But I'd say tell the truth. Think about what you're saying, and think about to the kind of person you're saying it to, because this is your friend, but we all know our friends. We know who we can be like, you know what, girl, I need to sit down and talk to you. Yeah. And you know who you have to kind of like skate on thin ice, just to be careful to not hurt feelings, but speak the truth.
Yeah, I'm with Erica. Lead with love. I think, I would want to salvage the friendship. I'm assuming they have been friends for a very long time, high school friend. But also just to add to that, because you never know the reasons by people's behavior or why she's been there that long. I think, again, we talked about this in earlier podcasts, communication. Have a conversation not only about the bad habits, but also about the timeline that she has been there and what is causing it. And they probably can, once that conversation's had, they can probably come up with a plan if she can stay longer or whatever the case may be. But the key thing is communication, and then work together if that's possible. If the friend will allow her to stay, if she's willing to change some of the unbearable habits. It just depends on how the conversation goes, what's going to happen in that final decision.
Well, I hear what you ladies are saying.
I think I'm with you.
You know, and so here we go. It was supposed to have been 30 days.
Right.
And not only, you know, and we get things happen or whatnot, so that's a conversation within itself.
Right.
If there needs to be an extension. But we're talking about bad habits. Now, me being a guy that I am, I like stuff neat and clean. So I don't know if it's a combination of that or whatever the bad habits may be, but you overstand what was supposed to be, not by a week, but we're talking about an extra 60 days.
Yeah.
And you got bad habits. Yeah. So now we got to have a serious discussion. And you want to do it with love, but you also, you want it to be communicated amicable, so a person will understand, like, hey, and put out there on the table these issues I'm not good with, whether it's hygiene, which I hope is not that, or whether it's around the house, whether she has kids or it's just her, and then figure out from going forward, when are you going to make that transition that you feel good enough to be back on your own? Because what you don't want is someone to take advantage of your kindness.
Right, yeah, it's true.
And also, that'll jeopardize the friendship. But after, I say about the 35th day, it's like, okay, what's the game plan?
Yeah, that's true. That conversation should have been had.
Yeah, it should have been had early, you know what I'm saying?
Not 60 days later.
Yeah, so... Because I don't think this is a situation like Brandy's song "Best Friend." It's not seeming like that. But what do you think, Tell? I guess what you think?
Honey, past the 31st day, we'd have been like, okay, listen, I led with love for day 1 through 30. Okay, 31.
You did.
32,
You did.
True that. Okay, where we going? Honey, I'm gonna tell you, I would have took a trip for 7 days. I wouldn't have had no food in the house. I probably would have turned the water off. And everything, and y'all gonna have to leave. So I think I definitely agree with you. I think that a lot of times when we have friendships, friends tend to feel that they have the opportunity or they have the right,
what entitled,
exactly. They're entitled to what you have, and baby, this is my space. This ain't your space. Like they said, make yourself at home, but please understand this ain't your home. Right? And so I think that what she should do is kick her out. Like it ain't that we ain't even got to be friends after this, because you have violated the terms of our agreement. So whether we choose to be friends after or not, it's time for you to go.
Gotta
She's
go.
60 days late and dealing with this thing, you know.
Let me tell you, MLGW don't let you keep your lights on for 60 days late, okay? And she's still in your house, baby. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No. Lock your doors, change your locks.
So, Michelle, hopefully we have said something that's going to help you to have that conversation with your friend, and hopefully your friend is making the moves she needs to make in order for her to get back on her feet. Because, faith without works is dead. You got to put action behind, whatever it is you're doing. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Action plan.
That is
Yes.
it.
Awesome.
And,
You have just been capped.
and don't forget to send your questions to the CAP podcast 3@gmail.com so we can help you out.
Yes.
Okay, so as we are wrapping up this episode, I'm going to give you the brain drop for the week. Life is a gift that can be returned by sender at any time. I'm going to say that again. Life is a gift that can return to sender at any time. In essence, what I'm saying is you have to live your life to the fullest, take nothing or no one for granted, because as surely as someone lives, someone will pass away. We've all experienced family, friends, and loved ones that has happened to. So hold no grudges. Let go of things that hold no bearing in your life, but do not take this life for granted, because one day it will be returned to sender, the Almighty, the Most High.
Yes. Amen. Okay, so I'm just going to read this right quick and expound. Be short for our detour moment. The waiting, the meantime, the in-between, it all serves a purpose. Trust your process, even the delays and the detours. The detours are coming. The delays are coming. And I always say the process is a huge part of the journey. Learn from it, grow from it, and keep moving on.
Even the delays, Erica? The delays.
Even the delays.
The delays, yes.
And the detours.
In
It
the
all
detours.
serves a
It
purpose.
does.
Yeah.
They do. All right. This week's Forget All That moment is about getting to know yourself. As you are healing from this relationship ending, get to know yourself. And the only way you can do that is spend time with yourself, just like you would anybody else. You spend time with people to get to know them. So spend time with yourself, maybe whether it be at home, you go somewhere by yourself, but spend time with yourself to get to know more about yourself, because you're going to find some things that you didn't know. We're always continuing to learn about ourselves. So I've had to do that and continue to do that, whether or not it was from healing from a breakup, just getting to know myself. So then you know, okay, when you go into the next relationship, you'll know more about you and what you need and want in the next relationship. So forget all that and get to know yourself.
Listen, this show has been amazing.
Yes.
Absolutely amazing. From the buzz to this awesome interview. I clap my hands to you.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on.
Yes.
So much for being here. You have shared a wealth of knowledge. You've given us laughs.
Yeah.
Just even having your input with the banana peel, the pick one. Just thank you so much for agreeing to stop by and see little old us. We appreciate it.
Thank you. I've truly enjoyed myself. Y'all go follow, go subscribe, follow, all of that. Make sure you are subscribing, because you guys have a magnificent platform. And I think that what you guys are doing and speaking of is very timely, and so I'm just honored to be able to be here with you guys. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we thank you for coming.
thank you.
Listen, Tymika, it was like she had so many people coming over. We posted about this, and I'm like, I looked at Tymika's post. I saw 45, 50 people. I'm like, okay.
Listen, I love supporting people, and I love for other people to get to know the people that are in my circle. and you are a part of my circle, and so I appreciate that. And so you guys make sure, seriously, y'all go follow, subscribe, all of that wonderful stuff, honey, because we're trying to get capped, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. All right.
Listen, before we end, like we have given a lot of our, our things that we do and our email address and all. So, can you tell our viewers how they can keep up with you to stay updated with what you have coming up with your new film and all?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, all under Tymika Chambliss Williams. Literally, it's only one of me in the whole world. So if you look me up, you're gonna find me. But yeah, just look me up on those platforms. You can go to my website, my media group. My media company is called Vibranium, just like Wakanda. Vibranium Media Group, and you can go check us out on our virtual home. And for those that are in the Texas area, we are going to be coming to Killeen and Houston with the stage play Can a Woman Raise a Man? And it will be featuring First Lady Karen Clark Sheard, Kiara Sheard, Tony Terry, Marva King, Rob Curry from Day 26. So y'all come check us out.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
So I'll be directing that stage play. We also have virtual tickets. So if you're not able to come and you are interested in still viewing it, you can check it out and purchase your virtual ticket. Go to Eventbrite and just type in Can a Woman Raise a Man? And I can't wait to see you.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you also to everyone who supported us and watched our first live a few weeks ago. So please know there will be more of those coming.
Yes,
Most definitely.
And it was great.
So we have had an amazing day today on the podcast. Remember, everybody, to subscribe to the CAP Podcast 3 at gmail.com. Until the next time, the next episode, remember to cultivate,
accumulate,
and prosper.
See you later.
Goodbye.
Bye.